Hey, this is Mike from Junkie and Crafts and Builds, and today we are looking at the commanding officer for the G.I. Joes, General Clayton Hawk Abernathy. Now, I know he's been out for a while and I've been behind on videos, but these last couple waves of Joes have really been good, and I just wanted to give them their proper time on my channel. So we're just going to go right into this, which is very cool, I might add. The image of General Hawk on here is very nice. You can see a Cobra stun against the Triple T from Sergeant Slaughter here on it. And a little Easter egg is this little flying dude here is actually a representation of the third version of General Hawk, which we will talk about later on in the retrospective. But overall, with this closed packaging, it's got all the accessories up front. Got this really cool image, which, you know, we'll see here on this side, he is number 103, and we've got all these little command stats. Again, I really wish that Hasbro would actually do something with these to make it a little more interesting, because I really don't feel like going on to Hasbro.com. But here's the other picture, or the other side, obviously, with the picture of Hawk here. Again, number 103. And then on the back, we've got all the important info. He is 6.3 inches tall, which is 172 millimeters. Again, with the accessories and the stats, and we've got these little details. So that's it for the box. I think we've all seen this enough times. Let's just go ahead and get right to the figure. And here we have Hawk out of his packaging, looking all commanding and such. And we're going to go ahead and just look at these accessories, and we're going to gear him up as we go through everything. So we're going to go ahead and start with his helmet. So again, this helmet, nice soft pliable plastic, very nicely sculpted. You've got his little star here in the center, and we've got a little ding to show some wear and tear on this helmet. Very cool looking. Not too much else to say about it. But we do have two pairs of goggles that go along with this helmet. We have a smaller pair, which go directly over his face. And then we have a larger pair, which will sit over top the helmet. So we're just going to go ahead right now and get them into place. And again, it's pretty easy. They just slide into position here and kind of get it all squared up and equal. But there we go. That's what it's going to look like on his helmet. And when we get it on his head, we will do that. And we're going to go ahead and put his helmet on as well. Now, like Dusty and the other characters that have multiple goggles or eye coverings and a helmet, it's easier to just put the other pair of goggles on his head with the goggle backward, so that way this helmet will actually sit and stay on his head much easier than without. So with that in place, we hide that little visor. I mean, that get up right there just sells the figure for me. Really great looking helmet, nice colors, goes with the character really well. Next pair of accessories we're going to talk about are his handguns, and we've got two styles here. Here's the first of two. It's a smaller of the pair. Got a slight extended clip, but again, just bare black plastic. It is blast effect compatible. And then we have his bigger futuristic pistol, which has like a silencer or a brake on the front here, but it's got a nice sculpt of the stars and such on the grip. It's got a lot of venting here on the top part of the pistol. So there's from the other side. With this small pistol, we'll just put it up here in his shoulder holster or his front holster here, and it slides in very easily. And then his other pistol will slide into his belt holster here, so we can just get that right in position there. Looks good. Last two accessories we have for General Hawk are these weapons. Now, this to me kind of is hit or miss just because of the proportions with them, but we're going to start looking at his shotgun here, which we've seen before with CoverGirl, but it's all black. Nice sculpt on it and everything. Mine is straight out of the box, which is a bonus. So again, it's nice. You know, we have other shotguns that we've received not only from Classified Series, but from Valaverse. But, you know, this is a nice addition. The other accessory we have, which to me this seems much larger, and when we put them on the body you can kind of see where I'm coming from, but this is a grenade launcher setup. really nice, decently enough sculpt. Again, blast effect compatible, but it just feels really big. So, but let's go ahead and get them on the General. And here's General Hawk holding a shotgun with a Hasbro blast effect in the front of the barrel. And again, looks really cool. The shotgun itself, like I said, it seemed a little big. Still not 100% sold on it. But, you know, hey, it looks good right here with this accessory. But let's see what he looks like with that grenade launcher. And here's General Hawk looking all generally on the front lines, using his pistol with a Valaverse blast effect in the barrel. So that's cool, it's compatible. And the grenade launcher launching off here. And like I said, to me, the grenade launcher just feels a little too big for the figure. I'll probably never use it. It'll be in the bin with all the other stuff for the figure. But with the shotgun and the two pistols, I think he has more than enough firepower on him. But overall, adequate accessories. They all are straight. And overall, they look good with the rest of the character. So let's go ahead and talk about General Hawk.
Oh, we've got the VET and Serpentor, General Hawk. The Fang Gang's bound to take a whack at him.
And we'll need all the Joes we can get to whack back.
So, as we've been doing in the past, I want to give some shout-outs prior to going through the retrospective with General Hawk. And these shout-outs include YouTuber JLS Comics. The guy has so many videos talking about G.I. Joes. He is a fantastic resource. I do highly recommend you check out his channel if you haven't seen it yet. I also want to call out the curators for two websites, yojo.com and joepedia.com. With all these guys available, and without their content, there was no way I could have access to all the media and across all the publishers in all the years to gather this information. So thank you guys so much. As one of the most well-known members of the G.I. Joe leadership, Clayton Abernathy, aka Hawk, has been in the Real American Hero toy line in Mythos since the first series release in 1982. Within the Joe community, young fans were introduced to the G.I. Joe leadership through the toy line, comic book series written by Larry Hama, or the Sunbow cartoon series. Many discussions arose about who really led the Joes, as in the cartoon series, specifically season 1, it appeared that Duke was calling the shots. But in the comics, we know otherwise. Clayton hails from Denver, Colorado. As a top-of-his-class graduate from West Point, his primary MOS is artillery with a secondary specialty in radar. He also graduated from Advanced Infantry Training and Covert Ops School. His vintage bio card quote reads, "He is a keenly intelligent and perceptive and quite capable of totally selfless acts in support of his teammates. An excellent leader." Clayton earned the respect of his troops through his frontline boots on the ground style of leadership and through multiple campaigns and engagements, advancing through the ranks. In the comics, Hawk caught the attention of General Flagg and was given the command of a special counter-terrorist group, Delta, codenamed G.I. Joe. His first live mission as Joe leader was to rescue Dr. Adele Burkhart, and for those who watched my Jodie Shooter impressions video, you know that Shooter was on site and sacrificed her life to ensure the Joes were not shot out of the sky by Cobra. Hawk was promoted to General after the death of General Flagg and the retirement of General Austin. Some main stories in the comics that involved Hawk included the attack on the pit from Cobra, which led to the death of two generals involved in a plot that deactivated the Joe team. Hawk was also involved in the attack at Springfield and Cobra Island during the Cobra Civil War. Throughout the series, though, Hawk remained in command of the Joes until the team was disbanded in issue 155 of the original Marvel Comics. There has been much discussion about who led the Joes. For fans of the cartoon, Season 1 had a very pointed cast, and Duke led the team. Season 2 aligned leadership more with the comics, with Hawk's introduction in Arise, Serpentor Arise, Part 1. Between the cartoon series and the G.I. Joe the movie, the leadership ranking was defined as Hawk, Duke, Flint, finally Beachhead, much to Beachhead's chagrin.
Very funny. Now, if I was in charge,
But you aren't Beachhead. First comes Hawk, then Duke, then me, and finally you.
yeah, well, maybe that'll change someday.
Hawk was voiced by Ed Gilbert, and he also had his own public service announcement where he prevented some kids from racing in front of a moving train.
The train! Let's beat it! Come on, hurry! We can make it! Hey, stop! It's too late to cross!
Hold up!
Hawk!
That's a dangerous game you two were playing. Listen to your friend Chris. Those gates are provided as a warning to let you know that it's not safe to cross.
We could have been hurt! Now we know!
And knowing is half the battle.
Personally, Hawk became my personal favorite leader once he was introduced in the cartoon series and I had his vintage toy. For the toy line, Hawk was first introduced to us as an 06 or colonel in the Army in the first wave of G.I. Joe toys. And he came included with the Mobile Missile System, or MMS, and looked very much like just any other figure in the original 13. In fact, instead of brown hair that we are used to seeing with this version of this character, he had blonde hair. Additionally, he was one of 2 officers introduced in the initial wave, the other being Ralph Polanski, or the motorized battle tank Mobat driver, Steeler. In his second release, we have a new sculpt for Hawk, as he was part of the 5th series released in 1986 through 1988. This sculpt has Hawk in a bomber jacket, helmet, and camo that we're used to seeing him in, and coincided with the introduction of Hawk in the cartoon's 2nd season. This is also the take we see here in his classified series release. Of note, this version was also part of the 1991 mail-in release that came with only one accessory, a gold submachine gun and an updated bio card shape. In 1991, we saw a release of a new and radically different take on the character. Now officially called General Hawk, this figure was in a flight suit with a space helmet and a special jetpack. It was noted in his bio card that the combination of the jetpack and the communications helmet allowed Hawk to survey the progress of battle, as well as keep in constant radio contact with all under his command. He had a second release in 1992 as part of the Talking Battle Commander subline. While General Hawk has had more subsequent releases, the last one of note is the most bizarre. In 1993, which was a year before the end of the original vintage toy line, we saw General Hawk as part of the Star Brigade Armored Tech subteam. This release had limited articulation and no back screw to take the figure apart. But as you can see, it was truly an odd time for the Joe toy line. So that's the retrospective on General Hawk. Now let's talk about this latest release in the classified line. And here we have General Hawk in front of us. And again, I'm excited to have this guy. He was one of my favorite Joes growing up. And it's really cool to see this nice representation. And I really think Hasbro did a good job. And I'm going to show you why. So again, we're starting at the top. And I want to take his helmet off here, just so we can really look at this head sculpt. And man, like, I know this year in 2023, like, Hasbro has been killing it with their sculpts, but I really like General Hawk's face sculpt. Square jawed, just awesome looking. If you can see, we got a little bit of a dry brush gray throughout the hair, and that is a really nice touch. The eyes look fantastic. The face, neutral yet stern, just exudes command. So moving to the main body, I mean, this is really like a highlight. Like this bomber jacket, the way that it's been sculpted and stuff, it's really sharp and nicely done. It's very nicely decoed. Main big butterflies along here, right? But so I mean, on this shoulder, we have the Yojo patch here prominently, and then the American flag on the other side here. Normally this would be reversed because the American flag goes on the right arm. So that way, because that's the arm you use to salute, cross your heart, all that other whiz-bang stuff. You see we have on his jacket all his medals and awards, and then his name tag, and then I'm assuming this is supposed to be like the G.I. Joe emblem insignia rank thing here. because he has his full bird up here. He's got his stars on his collar for his general. Again, little details that are on this guy, which I wish they would be more consistent with at Hasbro. There's just like the little detail of like the goldish highlight here on the zippers of the bomber jacket. Just looks really good. Here it is across the back. So yeah, all in all, really good. But we also note that we have these drop down shoulder pieces. Here's the bottom part of the camo pants. You know, nicely decoed, nothing really to call home about. Everything's pinless. The boots look really, really sharp. A little dry brushing would go a long way with these guys. So yeah, that's aesthetically, he looks fantastic. The way that the helmet is shaped, I really like it as well. And I think once you have it on him, it really makes the whole figure complete. Not going to spend a whole lot of time on articulation. I think you guys have seen enough of these classified series reviews. You guys know kind of what the normal range of articulation is. But this guy, we're just going to take a little bit of time and just kind of walk everyone through. If this is your first time watching a classified series review from me, or an impressions video from me, then here's kind of what we do with the normal fare, right? So his head can go up a little bit, down a little bit, but again, yeah, he can rotate. You can cop a little attitude. Shoulders, again, we have these really floaty butterflies. Now for these, you do have to kind of push down on the shoulder to kind of get the T-pose, but you know, he can strike it fairly easily. And you know, you can still rotate from there. We do have bicep rotation, which once you turn it, it's kind of horrible. It definitely breaks the sculpt. Pinless double jointed elbows. And here's another angle of the double jointed elbows. Again, as I manipulate this more, you can definitely see there's a little bit of QC in regards to the PVC connection from the shoulder into the arm. He does have vertical wrist pivot here on both hands, which is nice because if he has dual pistols, a shotgun and stuff, he should be able to manipulate them that way. We have the mid torso twist here. Doesn't get a whole lot of motion other than side to side. And we have the bell or the waist swivel here. Mine's really tight. I don't know how much I'm actually going to use that. So legs can go out that far. With the drop down hips, you can go up that far, back that far. We have a thigh swivel, of course. We have double jointed knees, which are not bad at all. We have a boot swivel. And then, of course, with ankle pivot, we have a generous down, a generous up, and a generous pivot. So that's a real quick and dirty rundown on the articulation here for the general. And before we do any little quick comparisons, this is a new section I want to add into my videos called Will He Vala? So in that, we're just going to do a simple head swap and see how it works between the Hasbro figure and a Valaverse figure. And for this video, we're going to take the current leader of Action Force, and we're going to use the mail-away Covert Ops Condor. Now, this was a mail-away, and it was available at Joe Fest. I did a video on this guy, which I will put right up here. So let's just go ahead, pop the heads off, and let's see what we got underneath him. So we gone ahead and de-headed both these figures. And as you can tell right off the bat, the ball peg on General Hawk is much smaller than the ball hinge here for Covert Ops Condor. You can see here, like, there's zero room on this ball peg to allow the head to articulate at all. But let's just go ahead and try General Hawk's head here on Covert Ops Condor. And as expected, the ball peg is a little too small inside the General's head. So unless you're going to use some sticky tack, the General will not work with a Valaverse figure. So that means, will he Vala? Answer is no. So here's an easy comparison for everyone within the Joe line. We have Duke, which was one of the earlier waves in the classified series, as well as the latest new character within the classified line, Hearth Wolf Spider Varga, and to see how the General stands up against the Supreme Commander of Cobra, Serpentor, which has been the tallest figure in the classified line now. And to flesh out the rest of the Hasbro line of characters, here we have him with 2 Marvel Legends in regards to Red Guardian and Wasp, and 2 Black Series, the Clone Trooper, and like the KTO-1. And to kind of finish out comparisons, here we have him with a starting lineup basketball player, and for like an independent line, here we have the Spiro Toys, Animal Wars of the Kingdom, Series 2, Blight. So final impressions of the G.I. Joe Classified Series number 103, Clayton Hawk Abernathy. I think he's a great addition to the line. I think as one of the 60 plus figures that was released this year from Hasbro, they have been knocking it out of the park, in my opinion, with a lot of their figures. Not saying they're all perfect. We always have a QC issue somewhere, but we also have seen that they are making changes as they go along. But with this guy right here, everything all his accessories were nice and straight. He has the perfect amount of accessories. This guy is perfectly painted. It all looks cohesive, and I do recommend you picking this guy up. I know he's readily available in local Targets. That's where I picked this guy up. I hope you can get him and add him to your collection. Other than that, that's all I really have about General Hawk today. I thank you guys as always for watching, and if you like what I'm doing here, please don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, leave a comment. I respond to 99.9% of the comments that I get on my videos. You can always find me on every Thursday on the Figure Action Podcast. So I hope you can join us. Again, thank you guys for watching. We'll talk again soon. Bye.
General Hawk, we've got to shut down the BET.
Then let's do it, soldier! Yo!